Hi everyone, and welcome to the weekly predictions based on astrology for the week of March 15, 2021. My predictions for the stock market direction is that Monday is going to be a down day, and then the rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, is going to see market going up. And by market, I mean primarily NASDAQ and Dow Jones. Now this week I haven't seen any particularly strong aspects, so the chance of my basically predictions being correct, I would give it about 55 to 60%. So nothing that stands out to me. There will be a few more strong transits coming up in the upcoming weeks, and I will talk about that in just a moment. In terms of the general kind of background influence for about the 13th through the 29th of March, there will likely be a strong focus on all things related to oil, gas, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, as well as navy, water, beverages, healthcare, things like that. So anything that's related to Neptune or liquids, like I said, oil, gas, etc. And that's because on the 13th, we had new moon in Pisces, and at the same time, we also had Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So there might be a lot of focus on value of related products, whether something is worth, say, investing in, or again, the prices or the value of the related businesses. And that will peak potentially when there will be a full moon, and that's around the 28th of March. So 29 and 28th and 29th may see some sort of a follow-up event or another spike of similar events that had occurred around the 13th. So for example, we had a really strong, or I guess it's still ongoing, perhaps major snowstorm in the US where, like in Colorado and Wyoming, they had seen many feet worth of snow, and several other states had a lot of flooding, or I guess a lot of just precipitation. So that's also, of course, Neptunian domain, snow, water, and things like that. And so around the, say, 28th or even 29th, I would expect that there will be a follow-up event. So for example, another storm, or if there's a power outage, which there are ongoing power outages, maybe a follow-up resolution to where finally all the power is restored, or another event that may again trigger a similar situation, bad weather with power outages, or if there's a lot of snow, maybe there will be an avalanche following that. So something along the lines of there being a relationship or a similar repeat of a similar event. So that's around the 28th. But generally speaking, through the 29th of March and especially 13th through the 21st of March, I think businesses in the related areas may be doing overall well, be it either because they will experience greater profits, so say from sales of pharmaceuticals, or because the value of their products will go up, or because they will see greater interest in those businesses, and there will be more investors flocking to those. So let's see, 15th of March for the US seems to be a day where, again, there may be increased news about oil, pharmaceuticals, gas, chemicals, navy, etc. All those same Neptunian domains. And the news may be along the lines of there being disagreements about the value, whether a product or a business is worth, say, buying, or if something is too expensive, like the price of oil is too expensive, or perhaps there's a negative expectation that things being too high, such as price of oil being too high, maybe having a negative effect on travel. So as I said, Tuesday, Wednesday look to me like slight up days, nothing too crazy, exciting. However, 17th through the 18th of March may see positive news for the US related to things like workforce, healthcare, and various services that are usually provided by the government. So maybe teachers, police, any sort of postal service, any, again, social services. So those areas may see some positive news, such as maybe there's an increased support from the government, maybe increased employment numbers, increased communication about the needs of those areas, and or some sort of successful agreement is reached so that things can move forward. Then for the 19th through the 23rd of March, and especially the 22nd of March, globally, there may be increased news about communication and transportation businesses such as car manufacturers, airlines, social media companies, and online retailers. So any business that is involved in like shipping things, be it goods or people, as well as things related to military, weapons, and sports, especially any kind of dangerous or fast sports, I don't know, like fighting or racing. And for those areas or some sort of combination of those domains, there might be increased news that's globally about negotiations, agreements, trade deals, or some long-term or large-scale manufacturing and engineering projects. So maybe perhaps a sale that involves, airplanes, but they're specifically used for military purposes. Or it could be like the communication or transportation company perhaps will announce long-term plans to improve their business, and things may be things may involve more substantial changes, perhaps either new leadership, or they will invest in like a new facility, a new plant, maybe engaging in some rather employing some new high-tech method, using like robots to build cars, or investing in research that will result in them having an army of self-driving vehicles, or investing into, again, some sort of either plant or facility or engineering solutions that will enable like airplanes to have, I don't know, better range, or improve basically how they fly somehow. So something along the lines of communication, transportation, online business, but also with respect to something related to military, sports, and or weapons. So it could be, again, a combination of maybe like an airplane manufacturer changes their practices, and they change which moving parts they're using, like parts of an engine or anything that's moving. Or again, maybe a company that's online retailer or social media company somehow gets pulled in or starts working on projects that again involve sports in some way. And these developments especially focus on having to do long-term investments initially, and then expecting results or expecting profits long-term, and having to go potentially through some major transformation or through this process of building something, changing again the strategies, changing manufacturing process. Some of these kind of announcements may trigger concerns from the stock market investors, and they may be concerned again about this initial stage, or things may take a long time to basically develop. And therefore I think the 22nd and 23rd of March, which will be early next week, there actually may be market down due to those kind of concerns or expectations that it may be a long sort of road ahead before the actual results may be seen, like these new strategies maybe perhaps will take a long time to implement. For the US, the 19th of March seems to be significant, and likely there will be some positive news about immigration, long-distance travel, partnerships with other countries, and import-export agreements. And by positive news, I mean if there's an ongoing pending discussion or a deal in the works, that it will probably be actually reached, and things will be agreed upon, and there indeed may be some laws or some agreements put into place to facilitate these areas, and specifically to facilitate the movement of goods or people across borders, to make sure people can travel more easily, come in and out kind of more easily, or to enhance international trade. So associated with that, on the 19th for US, we may hear about increased travel, improved retail sales, again, especially with international locations, increased car sales, and generally expanding somehow communication and transportation businesses internationally, or to involve, deals with international partners. Globally, the whole period of the end of March, from about the 21st of March to April 1st, and especially March 25 through 27th, appear to be significant. There may be focus on the price of or profits from the following domain, and their price or profits from the domains may increase. So those would be sports, military, weapons, and when I say sports, I mean again something that's like more dangerous, involves maybe fighting, car racing, something that's like dangerous, or something that involves fast-moving objects, any sort of business that are related to, like, say, use fast cars, or parts that are part of an engine, like rockets, airplanes, even explosive materials. So areas associated with these kind of domains, they will likely see increased interest. The value of associated products or businesses may increase, and or they may see increased sales because perhaps they're seen as more popular than usual. Perhaps like an athlete, like a fighter of some sort, or a racer, may receive greater than usual reward or sign a really large deal, or maybe a price for some engine or rocket or some part that again enables, say, a car or airplane to go fast, goes up, or there's a really large weapon sale that goes through. And also looking ahead, so that's for the next week, 25 through the 27th of March, seem to be important dates. Also in terms of there just being another related perhaps to what I just mentioned, announcement that may involve either like a famous athlete or military person, or actual vehicle that's moving really fast, like a fast car, train, airplane. Most likely it will be something that's flying or moves so fast that you would say, oh, the car is flying. And it could be something along the lines of like either an event that's like a race, or there could be an accident, or something that is either dangerous or becomes gets out of control, or there's like a military clash maybe between some countries, or there's some risky, aggressive maneuvers, and or basically some threat of, say, one neighbors threatening another, because again things just are escalating unnecessarily. And basically it may involve things like, again, an accident, an airplane accident, car accident, but it may involve somebody who is famous, like an athlete or a leader, especially military leader, or it could be leaders, again, military or athletes exchanging more sort of aggressive words than they would normally, or maybe a company, especially in communication, transportation, decides to deploy a really risky strategy that aims to get them, I guess, to their goal faster, but also involves perhaps cutting corners, or is seen as perhaps too risky. And or there may be news about a major fire, accident, explosion, and again that may involve fast-moving object or flying object. And generally speaking, this time, 25th through the 27th, is somewhat more, I guess, dangerous in terms of like car accidents and stuff like that, but also attacks on prominent individuals, especially like athletes, and or there may be just news about an important deal signed, like a big sale that involves, again, weapons, car engines, explosives, or sports, like merchandise, or actual like purchase of a team or something along those lines. So that's what's coming up this week, and a little bit of a glance into the next week. And in terms of the general background influence, as before, and through November or so of next year, we will have this Saturn square Uranus transit with us, and it's actually not as strongly felt this week, and we will start feeling it a little bit stronger again come June. So from about June 3rd through the 25th, it will start kind of ramping up a little bit, and things will become, I guess, there'll be more focus on either anti-governmental protests or some ideological clashes between like more conservative and more, I guess, liberal or more freedom sort of oriented individuals or ideas, businesses, etc. And then towards the end of June through early July, so I'd say June 29th through the 9th of June, I would say that would be a fairly critical time this year in terms of both probability of military clashes, major protests, accidents, attacks, etc. And then, so basically, if there's any sort of expectation for the stock market of any major correction or reaction to the general instability in society, that's probably where it may take place. Again, end of June, early July, and after that, it will be around December, second half of December of 2021, and yet again we will have another final square between Saturn and Uranus, final pass of that square, getting more precise around September, October of 2022. So for now, I'd say this week should be somewhat less stressful in that sense, in terms of this Saturn and Uranus square. However, things to look for, as I said, 25th and through the 27th of March seem to be significant. And then looking into April, we will see perhaps increased news related to oil, gas, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, as well as any floods or any like bad weather associated with excessive precipitation. And the dates to look for that may be associated with increased focus on these areas, such as oil prices, it's April 8th through the 11th. And at the same time, I think there may be also a fairly large market drop right around those dates, especially April 8th and 9th seems significant. And after that, again, another potential time where the market may drop would be September 1st through the 3rd. And again, at the same time, there may be increased focus on oil, gas, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, epidemics of various sorts. Maybe there's like a hurricane news, etc. right around that time. And speaking of epidemics, hurricanes, major floods, this year actually doesn't look as bad to me, although we will have a little bit more of that happening in the US just because of Neptune kind of approaching opposition to US Neptune. So globally, it's not going to be as bad. However, on the global scale, I think in the following year in April, especially April 4th through the 12th of 2022, may see globally really major news of their large oil spill or really major floods, flu epidemic again of some sort, or could be some other kind of epidemic flaring up. And again, on a global scale, the year where we may see this long-term trend in, say, oil prices, as well as really also gas prices and or prices of related chemicals that are derived from, say, petroleum, that we will see, I think, peaking around 2025. And that's when there may be really major news about oil. Either, I think it could be along the lines of there being oil glut, or some really major developments where even the use of oil or production will really change dramatically. And also at the same time, there may also be increased news about other Neptunian areas, such as really major pandemics, biowarfare, changes in how certain things are produced, including, say, movies and music. So things can be manufactured. I mean, they already can be manufactured, obviously, with AI, for example. However, in 2025 is when things may really sort of turn the corner, where rather than going through, say, production time of several months to record a video, major videos, like long videos, may be generated within minutes by really powerful computer or something like that. So things already are happening, technically speaking, these days. But 2025 is where we will have really major changes associated with various Neptunian domains, and it may be a difficult time at that time. And definitely, I would say, be prepared. Stay safe and keep an eye on various long-term trends. So If you want to see additional predictions in terms of glance ahead, I have a few predictions for upcoming months and also some more detailed breakdowns, what I think might happen to oil prices, basically important key dates for 2021. You can check that out on my blog at lastunka.com and my weekly predictions. And I hope you enjoyed this video and come back and check me out next week. Until then, have a great week. Bye.